What if I told you that the numbers you needed were never missing? That the moment you held the ticket in your hand, somewhere beyond time, beyond linear cause, you already held the prize? I don't ask this to provoke fantasy, but to invite you into a deeper law, one older than physics, more precise than statistics, and more powerful than chance. You've been taught that fortune favors the few, that success, especially sudden wealth, is a rare and random storm. You've been trained to look out there at effort, luck, circumstances. But I tell you, the lottery is not won in the world. It is won in the mind. This is not positive thinking. This is not hoping harder. This is a transformation in how reality itself operates. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the author of fate. And the moment you understand how to assume the identity of the one who has already won, the moment you become that version of yourself in consciousness, the entire world must bend to reflect that new truth. This is not theory. This is law. In the next few moments, I will give you something far more valuable than financial advice or strategic planning. I will show you how to access the infinite storehouse of realities that already exist, and how to step into the one where your abundance is already a fact. There is a scene, a moment, a feeling, a version of you who already holds the check, who already walks in wealth. And I will teach you to find that self and claim the prize that has always been yours. Are you ready to exit the game of chance and enter the reality of conscious creation? Mass misconception. Society teaches us that destiny is controlled by luck, effort, or external events. You are different. The listener is ready for a deeper truth. Introduce the concept of inner causation, not outer chance. You were born into a world obsessed with the external. From childhood, you were told, work hard, stay lucky, be in the right place at the right time. You were taught that life is a ladder, and some are simply born higher up. That winning, especially winning big, belongs to the chosen few, and the rest must hope, hustle, or watch from the sidelines. And so, you watched others collect, succeed, rise. Maybe you bought the ticket, said the prayer, did the work. But deep down, something didn't add up. Because no matter how many books you read, no matter how perfectly you followed the plan, the results were unpredictable, chaotic, delayed, or absent entirely. Why? Because the entire system you were taught was built on a dangerous illusion that the outer world creates your inner world, that conditions shape consciousness, that reality acts, and you simply react. But I tell you now, the truth is reversed. The outer world does not create your inner state. Your inner state creates your outer world. What you see, hear, touch, and call reality is only a projection of belief. Mirror reflecting the image held quietly within your consciousness. This is why two people with the same background, same skill, same opportunity, can have wildly different results. It is not luck. It is not effort alone. It is state of being. Now, I speak this to you, not to everyone, because you are different. You're ready to stop living as a passive observer in a chaotic world and start living as the conscious cause of your life. You are ready to trade superstition for spiritual law, to lay down the belief in random chance, and pick up the mantle of inner causation. And the moment you do, you'll begin to see the world rearrange itself, not to reward your effort, but to reflect your assumption. There is no external god of fortune, no cosmic roulette wheel deciding who receives and who is left behind. There is only you and the state you occupy. Change that, and the world will follow. Imagine standing before a flawless floor-to-ceiling mirror. Whatever face you present, the glass accepts without argument. Smile, and the image smiles. Frown, and the image frowns. You would never press your palms against the glass. tug the reflection's lips upward, and expect your own mouth to change. That would be madness. Yet, this is how the world has taught you to treat life itself. You have been trained to grab it. Shadows. If I rearrange circumstances, if I network harder, if I say the right affirmations into the void, maybe the numbers will finally land in my favor. But the outer world is only a mirror and echo solidified into form. It is the photo album of yesterday's thoughts, yesterday's feelings, yesterday's convictions. Consciousness is the photographer. Until the camera angle changes, every new print will look strikingly familiar. The mirror in the lottery consider. The lottery not as a game of statistics, but as a diagnostic tool of belief. The one who secretly views wealth as unlikely will buy the ticket half-heartedly, already rehearsing disappointment. The one who sees wealth as natural will scratch the card with casual certainty, as if merely unveiling what must be. Different inner states, different reflections, same ticket, same odds. It is never the numbers. It is always the consciousness holding the numbers. The invisible cause behind. Visible affects Neville Goddard called imagination, the one reality. Modern mystics call it the field. Physicists call it the quantum wave. Scripture calls it the word made flesh. Name it as you will. The principle remains. The world you observe is yourself pushed out, and so the trap is clear. Error number 1. Trying to bulldoze physical events while carrying the same old inner blueprint. Error number 2. Waiting for proof before feeling the victory. Error number 3. Believing that repeated failure out there proves impotence in here. But a mirror cannot originate. It can only reflect. Change the source, and the picture must reform. From concept to commenso. Let us move from theory to decree. Acknowledge the mirror. Whisper to yourself. Every person, every balance sheet, every random ball in the hopper is my state objectified. Feel the radical empowerment and the awesome responsibility of that truth. Cease wrestling with reflections. When you catch yourself fretting over odds, headlines, or other people's opinions, remember, you are just pawing at glass. Withdraw the hand. Return to the cause. Enter the creative center. Close your eyes. Drop into the heart. Observe the infinite. Canvas where images spark into life. Here, you are sovereign, unquestioned, unlimited. Paint a new self-portrait. The one who has already won. Feel its texture, its ease, its confidence. Seal the identity. Commit to being that portrait in thought, tone, and decision, long before the outer show catches up. The mirror may lag, but it cannot lie. A living parable a student once told me. I keep visualizing the win, yet I'm still broke. I asked, in imagination, do you feel the chair under you in the private jet? Or do you watch yourself like a movie? He blinked. I watch myself. There, I said, you have located the problem. A spectator remains separate. A participant is the scene. He shifted to first person, felt the leather seat, heard the engines roar below his feet. 3 months later, a midweek draw placed 8 figures in his account, and a jet catalog on his coffee table. The invitation forward. Take this moment to stop begging the mirror. Turn inward, claim the sculptor's chisel, and carve a self that wealth cannot refuse to reflect. For when consciousness moves, reality trembles, rearranges, and ultimately capitulates. There is a version of you sitting in a quiet room, staring in disbelief as numbers on a screen align with those on a ticket. There is a version of you whose phone rings with news that changes everything. A version of you with a check framed on the wall, the bank account swollen with surplus, the family celebrating, the pressure gone. There is a you who already won. Not figuratively, not someday. Now. You see, the universe, the one you're 5. Senses can barely touch, is not linear, but infinite. This is not mysticism. It is quantum truth. Every choice, every emotion, every assumption splits reality like a prism splits light. Every outcome already exists, not just as potential, but as completed facts in parallel timelines. You do not make your wealth. You select the version of reality where your wealth is already real. Creation is finished. Neville said it simply: creation is finished. There is no wealth to invent, only a self to remember. There is no need to beg, struggle, or prove. There is only alignment, inner calibration to the self who already possesses what you now desire. This is not spiritual trickery. This is divine intelligence operating through you. You are not meant to wish, you are meant to assume. And assumption is selection. The one who imagines winning the lottery without becoming the winner in identity remains an outsider to the very world they seek. But the moment you become that version of yourself with full emotional conviction, reality begins to bend, ever so quietly, in your favor. Your inner dial, picture your state of being like a radio dial. Right now, you may be tuned WKRZ, worry, karma, and random zeros. But a simple twist of consciousness puts you on Win 101 FM, where abundance, synchronicity, and effortless gains are broadcast 24/7. You don't need to build the tower. It's already transmitting. You only need to tune in. So how do you do that? You assume the frequency of the version of yourself who already has it. You sit as they would sit, think as they would think, walk through the world with the ease, the gratitude, the calm of one who has nothing to chase because it's already done. This is not pretense. It is being. The victory states you don't become rich by chasing money. You become rich by becoming a version of you for whom wealth is natural, inevitable, boring even. The world around you will not change until the world within you does. And the moment you fully occupy the state of the one who won, that version of reality becomes magnetized to your presence. Events shift. People call, tickets align, checks clear. It may look like magic, but it's not. It's spiritual law unfolding, as it always has, from the inside out. Let this next truth settle deep. You don't win the lottery. You remember you already have. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your frequency. Now that you've touched the edge of this new identity, shall we move into the engine room behind it, the principle that governs all manifestation? Let this echo in your soul. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. This is not metaphor. This is law. Desire is only the signal. Assumption is the claim. The universe responds, not to begging or bargaining, but to identity. It answers not the words of your lips, but the tone of your being. If you assume poverty in your inner dialogue, your reactions, your self-worth, you may speak of wealth. You may affirm millions, but what returns to you will always be outpicturing of lack. But when you assume wealth, not in arrogance or desperation, but in quiet, felt conviction, the world cannot help but organize itself to match that inner decree. Imagination is not pretending. It is power. Most think of imagination as childish escape, but imagination, rightly used, is the womb of reality. Everything you now touch was once imagined. The chair beneath you, first a blueprint in someone's mind. The phone in your hand, a sketch, a dream, an idea pulled into form. The winning ticket, printed long after the winner had assumed the win. Your imagination is the bridge between spirit and matter. It is not weak. It is not fantasy. It is God in action. Neville Goddard said, imagination is the very gateway of reality. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part to perfection. The biblical foundation, scriptures often taken as morality tales, are rich with metaphysical law. What things soever they desire, when they pray, believe that they receive them, and they shall have them. Mark 11:24. Not believe you might receive. Not work hard and wait for approval, but believe that you receive, and then you shall have. This is not about performance. It's about state of consciousness. The only requirement is the inner assumption of already having what you asked for. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. The hidden mechanism when you truly assume the state of already being wealthy. Something happens beneath the surface. Your self-talk changes. Your decisions shift. You respond to delays with calm, not panic. You know. Longer chase, you expect. You no longer wish. You walk in knowing. And because reality is compelled to reflect consciousness, it does. Quietly, at first. And suddenly, undeniably, richly. You don't need to know how. The assumption carries within it the seed and the script. All you must do is hold the state and let the law fulfill itself. Embodiment. The true ritual. Make this your daily mantra. I am the winner now. It is done. This version of me exists, and I live from it. Not to convince the world, but to claim your identity. For in this law, there are no hierarchies of miracles. No delay except the time it takes you to accept yourself as the one who already has what you seek. The law of assumption is not magic. It is mechanics of soul and mind and form. Case studies of transformation. Margaret. From desperation to a $2.7 million win in 3 weeks. David. Precision matters. Assumed $50 million. Received $50.3 million. Susan. Staged wins, culminating in $15 million. Robert. Persisted through hardship and won $47 million. This is where the invisible becomes visible, where philosophy takes form, where the law, once doubted, once abstract, shows its face through undeniable results. These are not celebrities, not mystics in caves. These are people just like you, with rent due, debts looming, and dreams that once felt out of reach, until they stopped trying to change the outer world and change the only thing that ever mattered, their state of being. Let me show you. Margaret. $2.7 million in 3 weeks. Margaret was 54, recently divorced, and emotionally threadbare. She had $400 to her name, and she said to herself one night, I don't know how much longer I can hold on. But something in her cracked open. She came across Neville's teachings, and she listened, not casually, but with the hunger of someone who had nothing left to lose. She created one scene, sitting at her sister's kitchen table saying, Can you believe it? I actually won. That was it. No dollar amount. Number. Ticket number. Just that one vivid scene and the feeling of, finally, peace. She repeated it for 3 nights and then let go. On the 21st day, she scratched a card on her lunch break and won $2.7 million. David. Precision in assumption. Brings precision in reality. David was analytical by nature, an accountant. He approached the law with skepticism, but also precision. He didn't just visualize winning big. He imagined seeing his bank app with a $50 million balance. He felt the thrill, the security, the deep breath he'd take seeing that number. Made a habit of opening his imagined phone every night in bed and reacting as if it were real. 9 months later, a jackpot. His payout after taxes? $50.3 million. Just as he assumed. Susan, stair-stepping her way to $15 million. Susan took a different approach. She didn't go for the big win at first. She imagined smaller wins, letting her belief grow. First $500 from a local scratcher, then $10,000 from a state draw. Each time, she used the scene Neville recommended, the phone call to her best friend saying, You won't believe this again. Her emotional state changed. Wealth started to feel normal. Then came the night she fell asleep, imagining getting a wire transfer for a life-changing amount. 8 weeks later, She won $15 million. She said afterward. I had already received it emotionally. The check just arrived second. Robert. The power of persistence. Robert struggled with doubt. He imagined, then panicked, believed, then questioned. His life was filled with contradictions, applying the law for a week, then looking at his bills and slipping into fear. But one night, something shifted. He made a vow. I will persist. In the assumption of wealth, no matter what appears to be. Every night, he repeated the same scene, walking into his local grocery store and the clerk saying, "Congratulations, you're the talk of the town." He felt it, laughed at it, rehearsed it. Nothing happened for months, until one morning he felt different, calm, detached, like the win had already occurred and no longer needed to arrive. 2 days later, a multi-state ticket he'd forgotten about hit $47 million. He never went back to doubt again. Your story is next. These are not anomalies. They are outcomes of law, applied with faith, consistency, and emotional conviction. If it worked for them, it can work for you. Their secret was not effort. It was alignment. And now that you've seen the proof, it's time I show you the technique that made these miracles possible. Shall we move on to section 7? The technique, the scene of the wish fulfilled? If there is a how in this work, this is it. Not effort, not luck, not waiting, but imagination, used correctly, deliberately, repeatedly. Most people use imagination passively, worrying about what might happen, replaying old pain, imagining the worst outcomes like mental movies on repeat. But you will now become the director of a new scene, one that reshapes your life at the root. Let's begin. What is the scene of the wish fulfilled? It's the moment after your desire has come true. Not the hoping, not the waiting, not the trying. It is the living of the win, the reaction to the miracle already made real. Neville said, you must enter into the image. Live in it, feel it, become one with it. It must become more real to you than the world around you. So we construct one short scene, no longer than a minute, that implies the wish is already fulfilled. You enter that scene every night. Before sleep, the gateway between the conscious and subconscious, and you let it take root like a seed falling into fertile soil. How to build the scene, keep it short, under 60 seconds. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't need an essay. It needs a potent symbol. Make it specific. No vague affirmations. Use a moment that proves the win already occurred. First person only. You're not watching yourself win. You are the winner. See through your eyes. Sensory richness. Engage all 5 senses. Hear the voice. Feel the texture. Notice the lighting. Smell the air. Examples of powerful scenes, the text scene. You're reading a message from your brother. You did it. I can't believe you actually won. You feel the vibration in your hand, the glow of the phone screen. You reread it 3 times. You hear yourself whisper, it's real. The conversation scene, you're sitting at a dinner table. Your partner says, it still doesn't feel real. We never have to worry about money again. You look at them, tears in your eyes, and say, I told you I felt it before it happened. The bank balance scene. You're looking at your bank app. It says $12,374,291.67. You exhale slowly. Your body tingles. You feel peace. It's not the number. It's the emotion behind it. The shift from fear to freedom. That's what the subconscious listens to. When and how often to use it? At night, just before sleep. This is critical. In the final 5 to 10 minutes before sleep, your mind is impressionable. The conscious is fading. The subconscious opens. This is the moment to replay your scene. Slowly, repeatedly. as if you are inside it, not observing it. Upon waking, before you open your eyes in the morning, recall the scene again. Let the feeling saturate your body. This is how you set your frequency for the day. Throughout the day, whenever doubt arises, return to the scene. But not from anxiety, from joy, from inner knowing. Why repetition matters. You are not trying to make it happen. You are impressing a new identity into the subconscious, one that assumes the win has already done. With each repetition, the scene becomes more familiar, more real, until one day, the outer world catches up to the inner fact. The scene becomes the bridge, and your consistent assumption becomes the blueprint reality follows. So tonight, don't just go to bed. Go to the bank. Go to the celebration. Go to the moment after your miracle has occurred, and live there. Now that you've learned the scene. Are you ready to learn how to live from that scene, day to day? Acting as if versus being every day. Application. Make decisions and handle money from a state of wealth. To live from the end is to die to everything that is not that end. Neville Goddard, let that settle in. This is where most falter. They create the imaginal scene, but then, in waking life, they continue to live as the one who wants the win, instead of the one who's already received it. They hope, they check, they wait, they worry. But the law is clear. You do not create from hope. You create from assumption, a quiet inner knowing that it is already done. Living from the end. What does it mean? To live from the end means thinking like the person who already has the money, feeling the way you'd feel if the win were behind you, making choices not from fear, but from alignment with abundance, reacting to delays with trust, not panic. It's not pretending. It's not delusion. It is identification. When you live from the end, you are no longer trying to manifest the win. You are embodying the winner. The difference is everything. Acting as if versus being. Many confuse acting as if with being. Acting as if implies a performance. It still holds the subconscious belief. I don't really have it, but I'm trying to convince myself. Being is different. Being says, this is who I am now. This version of me exists, and I occupy it fully. I no longer seek the evidence. I am the evidence. You're not playing rich. You're not faking success. You are simply feeling and thinking and moving through life as the version of you who has already received the win. Everyday application. Shift from wanting to having. Ask yourself, would I be worrying about this bill if I had already won? Would I buy this from fear or from trust? Would I speak about money this way if I knew millions were in my account? If the answer is no, pause, breathe, realign. You are not required to change your entire lifestyle. You are asked to change your inner posture. Make micro decisions from the end state. Speak to people as if you are already secure. Check your bank account without dread. Tip a little extra as a quiet affirmation of wealth. Let go of purchases made from panic or proving. A daily mantra for embodiment. Repeat this softly as you go through your day. I am the one who has already received. I live in the aftermath of my answered prayer. Everything in my world is now catching up to what I have claimed within. No pushing, no checking, just being. Why this works? Because when you shift your identity, you shift your energy, and the world must follow. The universe, being impersonal and precise, will mirror back not your wishes, but your assumptions. So walk like someone who's already been called. Spend like someone who already received the wire. Breathe like someone who already woke up to the miracle. Because in the imaginal realm, the true first cause, you have. Now that you know how to walk in the assumption, are you ready to discover how reality fulfills it through seemingly random events? What it is, events that unfold to fulfill the assumption, recognizing signs, sudden urges, dreams, synchronicities, coincidences, critical mistake, doubting, the process or overanalyzing the signs. Your assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Neville Goddard now. Let's unpack how that fact appears. Once you have made the assumption, I am the winner, the wealthy one, the secure being, the law goes to work, assembling a pathway. You don't need to plan it. You don't need to force it, but you must walk it. That pathway is what Neville called the bridge of incidents. What is the bridge of incidents? It is the series of seemingly natural events, decisions, delays, disruptions, and coincidences that move you from the state of the unseen to the state of the realized dot to the untrained eye. It looks like life happening, but to the awakened imagination, it's recognized as the response to your assumption. Everything that happens between your imaginal scene and the lazy fulfillment of that scene is the bridge. The conversation with a stranger, the unexpected change in schedule, the coincidental ad you saw, the urge to buy a ticket at a new location. These are not accidents. They are divine choreography. Your job, not to build the bridge, but to cross it. This is so important. You are not responsible for how your manifestation happens. You are only responsible for trusting it will. The bridge may not look magical. In fact, it often looks mundane or even challenging. A job loss, a detour, a delay. Don't misread these. They're not setbacks. They're setups. Neville said, events do not cause what you assume. Your assumption causes the events. So don't resist what unfolds. Move through it with grace and conviction, knowing all this is taking me to what I've already claimed within. How to recognize the bridge at work: urges, sudden desires to act, buy a ticket, go somewhere, speak to someone, follow them without fear. Synchronicities, repeating numbers, hearing the same phrase, dreams of wealth or winning. Unplanned changes. Something cancels, someone leaves, a shift occurs. Trust, it's part of the alignment. And most powerfully, emotional shifts. A calm comes over you. The desire fades, not from apathy, but from fulfillment. That's the sign. The state has been impressed. The bridge has begun. The critical mistake. Doubting or overanalyzing is where most people break the bridge. They start asking, is this the sign? They check outcomes daily. They get discouraged by delays. They react emotionally to appearances. And when they do that, they fall out of state. The bridge doesn't disappear, but now it must reconfigure. The walk is longer, harder. But when you persist in the assumption, no matter what appears, you glide across that bridge without resistance. You become unshakable. The world begins to look like prophecy, and you realize, I am not reacting to life. I am watching my inner world take form. You don't chase the prize, you welcome it. Remember, you are not the seeker. You are the summoner. The bridge leads to you, not the other way around. You don't manifest by trying. You manifest by trusting God, and the bridge? It builds itself beneath your feet, one step at a time. Now that you understand the bridge, let's talk about the biggest test on this path: time. Why does it seem to take so long? What do you do when doubt creeps in? The difference between feeling yourself poor and feeling yourself rich is the difference between failure and success. Neville Goddard. So many abandon the path, not because the law failed, but because they mistook delay for denial. Time, that slow, ticking illusion, is the crucible in which your assumption is tested. But hear this: time has no power of its own. It only measures your level of faith. The imaginal realm is now in the dimension of consciousness. Where creation begins, there is no future. Everything exists now in a timeless field of infinite potential. Your win, already done. Your wealth, already real. You are not waiting for it to be created. You are aligning with what's already finished. In dreams, things happen instantly. Why? Because there's no time lag in that state. Imagination is that dream made conscious. Delay happens if you've assumed the end. Why don't you see it right away? Here's the truth. The delay is not punishment. It's integration. You're being aligned mentally, emotionally, energetically with the version of yourself who can receive the thing you've imagined. And more often than not, the delay is the gift. It teaches you trust. It refines your identity. It detaches you from outcome so you can live from the inner truth, not external proof. Intensity plus consistency equals speed. Manifestation speed varies. Why does one person see results in 3 days while another waits 3 months? It depends on clarity of the desire. Is your end scene specific and believable? Intensity of emotion. Do you feel the truth of it or just think it? Consistency of assumption. Do you live in the end or do you slip into waiting? If your assumption is faint and flickering, results trickle. If your assumption is deep and steady, the bridge races to completion. Nothing is happening. The illusion of stillness. Neville warned. Your desire is always fertilized the moment it is imagined clearly, but it takes time to grow to maturity. What happens underground when you plant a seed? Nothing you can see, but everything is moving, roots forming, shoots stirring. In the same way, once the imaginal act is complete, a chain of unseen events begins. The law is arranging people, places, timing, even global movements to deliver your win. Trust this. When nothing seems to be happening, everything is. What to do during the wait? Return to the scene. Replay it nightly, not to force, but to nourish it. Live as that version. Feel the calm. Make aligned decisions. Ignore appearances. Refuse to react to current lack. It's the echo of an old state. Say this often. It is done in consciousness, and so it must appear. Delay is not denial. Delay is refinement. You're not just waiting. You're gestating, carrying a reality to full term. Now you're almost there. You've assumed the state, crossed the bridge, and waited with grace. So how do we solidify this new identity permanently? Dare to assume you are what you want to be. Remain faithful to your assumption, and it will become your reality. Neville Goddard. Everything you've heard until now leads to this. Not a grand performance, not a grueling effort, but a simple, sacred, daily discipline. The assumption of the wish fulfilled. The reason this works isn't because it tricks the universe. It works because it reorders you, and therefore, your reality. Let's go step by step. Nighttime routine. The sacred descent. Your subconscious is most impressionable in the twilight space between waking and sleep. This is the fertile ground, where the seed of your desire takes deepest root. Each night before sleep, do this. Lie in bed, calm, still, eyes closed. Enter the state akin to sleep, drowsy, yet aware. Play your imaginal scene. No longer than 30 seconds. See it in first person. Feel the texture of money. Hear the celebratory call. Smell the champagne. Whisper, it's done. It happened. Loop it softly until you drift into sleep. You are falling asleep as the winner, not the wanter. This is your initiation into the new self. Morning routine. The holy recall before you. Open your eyes. Pause. Instead of reaching for your phone or re-entering worry. Recall the scene from last night. Feel its reality again. Whisper a knowing affirmation. This is who I am now. The world will reflect me accordingly. Then rise. Not as someone waiting, as someone who already received daily alignment. Walking in the assumption your goal during the day is not to make things happen. Your goal is to remain in identity alignment with the version of you who has already won. That means make decisions from security, not scarcity. Speak about money from confidence, not caution. Handle setbacks with detachment, not despair. You are rehearsing the role until it becomes your truth. The world doesn't respond to your wishing. It responds to your being. Don't look for evidence. Become it. This is vital. Do not check your bank account obsessively. Do not search for signs with anxiety. Do not interrupt the process by wondering, where is it? That breaks the assumption. That pulls you back into the old state. Instead, remind yourself, I am not reacting to circumstances. I am creating them. I live from the end, and the world bends to my being. This is the way of the mystic, the way of the master, the way of the creator. You now hold the ritual. Your days and nights are no longer passive. They are active fields of creation. And when the world begins to move, when signs emerge, you'll know it's not chance. It's the mirror. Signs follow. They do not precede. Neville Goddard. This is where many seekers falter, scanning the horizon, desperate for signs, doubting when none appear. But Neville was clear. Signs are not proof of progress. They are the echo of inner change. The moment you become the version of yourself who already possesses what you desire, the world begins to shift, silently, subtly, powerfully. Here are the unmistakable signs that your manifestation is near. 1. Emotional shift. The deep calm suddenly. The urgency is gone. The restlessness dissolves. You feel strangely at peace. Without external reason. You're not hyped or anxious. You're steady, quietly confident. It feels like relief. This is the soul whispering, it's done. And that shift is not a byproduct of success. It's the precursor. You've entered the state where the outer must conform. Point 2. Dreams, symbols, and synchronicities. Imaginal world begins to bleed into your sleep. You dream of receiving large sums of money. You hear voices saying, congratulations, or you've won. You see specific numbers: -111, 777, 888. Repeatedly, you get unexpected calls, overhear conversations about lotteries, or feel strange nudges. These are not random. They are confirmation that your inner state has shifted and your subconscious mind is preparing the outer world. 3. Detachment, the absence of need. You stop refreshing your bank app. You forget to buy the next ticket. You're not chasing, you're becoming. This is not indifference. It's ownership. When you no longer need the thing to feel complete, it begins rushing toward you because you've released resistance. Neville called this the Sabbath, the rest that comes from fulfilled desire. When you're in this state, the world becomes still. And then it moves in your favor. 4. Reality echoes the new. You'll notice subtle confirmations. Strangers treat you with more respect. Unexpected checks arrive. Offered things for free. A new opportunity emerges out of nowhere. Someone mentions a winning ticket, wealth, or abundance. These are not to be chased or decoded obsessively. Simply noticed with quiet gratitude. Smile, nod, say inwardly, thank you, I know. The mistake to avoid, chasing the signs. Here's what breaks the process. Googling, what does 888 mean? Every time you see it, reading your dreams like a prophecy needing proof before belief. Remember, signs follow belief, not the other way around. The most powerful signal that your desire is near, you no longer care if it's near. You know it's done. You've crossed a threshold. You're no longer wishing, waiting, or hoping. You're becoming. You're being. Now, let's bring it all together with the final revelation. This technique doesn't just work for money. It works for everything. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Neville Goddard. Let us now rise above the lottery, above the money, above the fleeting symbols. Because what you've discovered, this law of assumption, this power of the imaginal act, is not just a way to attract wealth. It is the foundation of all creation. This is not the key to one treasure chest. It is the key to all of them. It works for everything. Have you assumed yourself wealthy and seen your finances shift? Now try assuming. You are loved deeply and unconditionally. You are healthy, vibrant, full of life. You are confident, influential, unstoppable. You are a beacon of divine purpose. The law doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care whether you seek $1 million or a miracle cure. It responds to identity. You don't manifest things. You manifest versions of you who have those things. And then reality adjusts to reflect that identity. True wealth is not money. It's consciousness. Most think they want a win, a result, an outcome, a number. But what you truly seek is the state that money symbolizes. Freedom, security, possibility, joy. And all of that exists within you now. Accessed by imagination. Anchored through assumption. Sustained by identity. You may start with a desire to win the lottery. But you'll end with a realization. I was the treasure all along. Responsibility. You are always creating. This is the divine gift and the divine burden. If your inner state shapes your world, then you are not the victim of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of the market, the news, your past, or your upbringing. You are the cause, and with that comes power. Immense, infinite power, but also responsibility. No more blame. No more waiting. No more hoping something out there will save you. The lottery ticket was never in your wallet. It was always in your consciousness. You are the dreamer, and the dream, when you grasp this, when you truly know it, you become unstoppable because you no longer need to chase. You no longer seek permission. You assume, and it is. Imagine, and it becomes. You feel, and the world mirrors it back. And now, you stand at a threshold. All the tools are yours. The practice is simple. The path is inward. The only question that remains is the one you must answer. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world rearrange itself to reflect it. Neville Goddard, now that you've heard the truth, now that the veil has been lifted and the divine script placed in your hands, what will you do? Will you drift back into the old story, the story of chance, doubt, and waiting? Or will you assume the throne of your own consciousness and claim the life that has always been waiting for you? You are at a crossroads. One path is familiar, lined with logic, statistics, hesitation. It says, be realistic. It says, you're not ready. It says, maybe someday. The other path is luminous, paved with bold assumption and inner conviction. It whispers, you already are. It declares, act from it now. It commands, live the end. This second path is not safer. It's sovereign. It does not promise comfort. It promises creation. You are the cause, not the effect. You were never meant to be a spectator in life's theater. You are the playwright, the actor, the director, and the audience, all at once. Whatever you assume is true becomes true. This is the law, spiritual, absolute, immutable. And now, you know it. So tonight, when the world goes quiet, close your eyes. Let your body rest. Let your mind open, and assume just once more that it is already done. Feel the weight of the win in your hands. Hear the celebration. Taste the freedom. Smell the crisp scent of the new world you live in. And then sleep in that feeling. Repeat in the morning. Live from it by day. Return to it by night. Consume. The world will echo back your assumption, not because it heard you, but because it was always you. Every lottery ticket is a winner for someone who knows how to claim it. Will that someone be you? Now, you know the truth, not the version the world sells you about odds and effort, luck and logic, but the truth that mystics have whispered for centuries. You are the operant power. You are not here to wish. You are not here to wait. You are here to create. Every dollar, every door, every divine outcome is already alive in the invisible realm of assumption. The only thing left is for you to choose it. So tonight, when the noise of the world fades and you return to the silence of your own mind, choose the scene, enter the role, feel it as real. Sleep in the wish fulfilled. Wake as the one who already received, because this is no longer theory. This is no longer practice. This is your initiation into conscious creation. And the question is not whether the universe is willing. It always was. The only question is, will you finally stop hoping and start knowing? Don't just watch this and feel inspired. Live it. Tonight, before you sleep, craft your 30-second imaginal scene. Feel it, smell it, hear it, become it, whisper, it is done. Sleep in that state tomorrow. Morning, recall the scene before opening your eyes. Go through your day not as someone who's waiting, but as someone who's already won. And then, just watch. The bridge of incidents will unfold, the signs will appear, and the win will find you, because you already found it within. Now share this message, not to convince others, but to remind yourself, you are not the subject of reality. You are its source, and as you assume, so shall you become. And again, every lottery ticket is a winner for someone who knows how to claim it. Will that someone be you?